Hey, greetings, Leo. Hi, that's you over here. This is Tarot Lumination. This is your love and relationship mini report for April 2018. It's just generic, okay? So if it doesn't make sense to you, just watch Sun and Moon and Rising and see if you can squish it together and then reinterpret the whole thing to suit you, okay? Get something out of it that way. And of course, a lot of people do their cross-watching too, as they call it. So, about your significant others. We're going to use this crucible spread that I like to use for love and relationship because it allows for the self, significant other, and the relationship itself on the understanding that the relationship has a structure and a life and identity of its own. And in a loving relationship, both parties invest in the relationship as though the relationship is a crucible, a very powerful, strong structure which is designed to withstand the intense pressures that people endure as they intimate and separate, in the natural ebb and flow of relationship. Okay? So for you, Leo, it's Aries season. Typically, that's kind of comfortable and fun for Leos anyway. That would be the sun lighting up your ninth house area of, let's say, higher knowledge, higher consciousness, higher awareness, travel, big travel, foreign connections, relationships, that kind of thing. And I was looking through the astrology, and I'm sure there's all sorts of interesting things we could add, but I just want to point out one thing really towards the end of the month. I'm just putting it here for reference because I've given a few things to others. I've got all this stuff here, but I think I'm just going to move on and go directly to the end of the month around April 29th, where we have this Taurus Scorpio full moon energy. Okay, so I'm just pointing it out because at that time of the month, 29th, there's going to be this big polarity with Taurus and Scorpio, and it happens to be very, very closely aligned with the Leo North Node, which is going to impact you in some way or other. So you might feel a lot of pressure, a lot of emphasis, like being squeezed and pushed to be your own magnificent self in ways that might not be comfortable for you in the context of love and relationship. So we'll see how that goes. I just wanted to give you a heads up for that particular date. Might want to make a note of that on your calendar. We're coming into April, coming straight out of March with a big fat T-square full moon on March 31st. But it's mostly harmonious for you because of the Aries Libra opposition. But that opposition is in a heavy T-square, so with Capricorn. So yeah, there might be some stress there when it comes down to how you communicate in relationships, but I wouldn't want to labor it too much. I'm just focused on the April 29th date. That's the only thing that really sticks out to me. Otherwise, let's have fun. Let's see what happens here. Let's make the best of it. Cards are already well shuffled in advance, and we're going no jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals, not enough time, space, or anything. If you need special attention, just come to tarotlumination.com and we'll figure it out, okay? So do your cross-watching too if you have to. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising and all of that. I think I told you. Cards are now well shuffled. Please bring your angels into viewing, okay? Tarot Illumination brings TL angels into this as well. I like to share, and because it just makes it more effective in a group effort, and it allows us to depersonalize things a little bit. So you just treat this as energy. It's not to yell, it's not you, it's just energy, okay? And it's all for your best good. We're doing everything we can to help you, okay? This would be your significant, this would be the energy that you would be radiating, okay? Naturally, consciously, or unconsciously, whatever it is. This would be the energy radiating of a significant other. By the way, I know a lot of singles watch these videos too, so, and you do ask, how is this relevant to singles? Well, if you extrapolate the laws of attraction, then this could be viewed as what if, or who if, or who could this be? This would be resonant of their energy, their limbic resonance, as if they were there, okay? Simply responding to you what you're resonating, okay? Going deep into the soul of you, deep into the soul of the other, and deep to the core of the relationship itself. So you can see the crucible there. And the crucible in a healthy way would be strong and very durable to withstand the buffeting. Okay, and the joys, of course. Also here, prospects, momentum of where does this go? If you think of this like a fountain, where you're constantly feeding into something and it turns into a fountain. Okay, so we're going to look at circumstantial energy too, and you, Leo, like everyone else, we're going to make the best of it. Okay, what we have here is the Two of Swords. So my feeling here is that, you know, however awesome things might be or feel for you right now, my feeling here is to be aware, be very cautious, be very aware that it could be very easy to slip up and get into trouble in relationship dynamics. And in order to avoid those kind of things, be willing to pause and move very gently, very slowly, one tiny decision at a time, because that's how we, let's say, catalyze our evolution. Even in relationships, it's through the healing power of our decisions. And so all I'm suggesting is that instead of rushing forward, be prepared to exercise your right to not make any decisions, because that's a decision as well. It's a very defensive mode, I'm sure, but you know, sometimes it's better just to sort of take a pause, take a delay here, especially with all these retrogrades piling up. Okay? In other words, also be very aware of the impact of your decision-making faculties. Okay? The human phenomenon of decision making that we have, conscious, deliberate decision making, is a very unique phenomenon to human beings, at least is what we can tell from research, where we had that choice to deliberately, you know, rise above instinctual behavior. Let's have a look. What are you radiating? The Empress. So my feeling here is that you're not being shy about your, let's say, your own lusciousness, male or female, gender irrelevant here. All I'm suggesting is that radiating the Empress energy can be very, very appealing, very alluring. And all I'm suggesting is be very, very careful of what you are radiating in terms of energy. Be very aware if you're radiating this much lusciousness, this much appeal to others or to this significant other, that can arouse like the most powerful like animal instincts in a significant other, because they would see you as like a delicious catch, like delicious, like arm candy or a treat or something that has to be devoured and enjoyed and gobbled up. Okay, because this is very delicious, beautiful energy. And if you're radiating that, like literally just being gorgeous and beautiful, male or female, being very, very attractive, radiating your full capacity of fertility, creative fertility, mental, physical, even being pregnant, the ability to be pregnant, the ability to fertilize or be fertilized, all of that, the ability um, to express creatively in your most vivid, let's say, appealing ways possible. So that's kind of gorgeous. It's almost like that energy of like people who are so gorgeous, nobody ever dares to hit on you. You know what that's like? I'm sure you do. So uh, uh, I don't want to make that a problem, but just be very aware that when people are radiating a lot of natural, gorgeous energy, it's very seductive, it's very appealing, it's very attractive, and you might be attracting the attention. It might be unwanted attention. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there just to be careful. So it might be time, with all these retrogrades happening, it might be time to be aware of your own awesomeness and what it actually does, how that triggers responses in others. Let's have a look. Okay, with the Nine of Cups here, it looks to me like you're relating with someone who is quite happy with who they are, the way they are, and how they are. And it might be, I mean, it's obviously tempting to assign both of these to each other. But the thing is, there's such a strong energy of independence here, where their energy that they're radiating of independent happiness uh, could be simply because of the young homework that they've done on themselves to create this ability to generate this much happiness and resonate and transmit and glow this much happiness. So in some ways, it's like like the energy of two people who can, you know, appreciate each other in their own awesomeness, in their own gorgeousness. You and your like uh, most gorgeous self, and them in their most happy self, deep from the inside and deep from the inside for you too. But it's also reflecting on the outside. So it looks like it's very, very appealing. Like if you're in a love relationship or a long-term marriage or something that's fairly new, and it to me it feels like that energy of a newly growing plant. Um, it and you can just tell it's going to be gorgeous over the long term as well, so long as you maintain these kind of qualities of energy. And that's a lot to put on a relationship, by the way. Like when things start off really, really well, it's like it's sometimes easy for other people to judge and say like, oh God, you can see when it's going to crash, baby. Oh man, it's just too good to be true. I'm not seeing that here. All I'm suggesting is that when things look this good, it's like when you're at the peak of something, there's almost nowhere else to go but down from there unless you constantly, vigilantly maintain and repair and nurture the relationship as you go and become very, very aware of the crucible, the actual structure of the relationship itself in which this yummy energy can exist safely without exploding on contact because it's so, yeah, it's so potentially good. So let's have a look here. What's going on at their soul level? Okay, so to me, it also feels like with you, Leo, it's like you've done enough work on yourself. Maybe this is something to do with like the North Node path. Maybe you have been watching Tarot Illumination videos and actually been doing a lot of homework on yourself to make yourself the most awesome self you can possibly be, especially as a Leo, with a lot of pressure to be the most ultimate Leo. Which means shining and radiating very abundantly. The energy of true love and true romance, to the point where at your soul level, it's almost like radiating an energy of being an authority on these matters. Like you could actually speak on this stuff, write on this stuff, advise on this stuff, counsel on this stuff, because you know you are living it by example. Okay, so that's very nice to have in the context of a relationship. That makes you very valuable. This is also card of value that makes you very valuable in a relationship. I would say very desirable because you're like a living example that you can speak on these things. It isn't, you're not living a fairy tale. You're not just being swayed by like random attraction or just the most elementary three-dimensional aspects of relationship. I feel this goes down to the deep spirit level here, where you've gone down deep into the depths and you're coming out with a lot of wisdom and knowledge about what it really means to be able to resonate at this level. So that's kind of appealing from their perspective because it seems to me like they get it. They understand that it's so much more satisfying to relate with someone at the same similar frequencies where like they are like, well, I am this gorgeous myself in my own way. I'm not saying I am you, but I am aware that happiness, you own it from the inside out. Like you, dear Leo, you could never take away this happiness from me. So instead, I would rather share what I have with you because I have noticed that you have figured this out too. And then you can go like, aha. Well, see, I told you so. I was waiting for you to say that because I didn't want to shove it in your face. I wanted to see if you recognize that in me. And they're like, well, yes, I do. Thank you very much. So I feel like we click. Well, that's good because I felt like we clicked too. So what do we do now? Okay, let's have a look. What's going on deep inside of them? Okay, to me, it feels like this is an obvious conclusion here that it's kind of turned out the way it should be. Now, if you're really suffering in a relationship, Leo, right now, to me, it also feels like that's the way it would be anyway, you know? And it just has to come to the surface where both parties can mutually appreciate each other and say, you know what? We've had an amazingly good time. I think you're just gorgeous. and I think you're just gorgeous too. Um, and we've both been living like as a stellar example of what could be, what should be. But if you, Leo, are relating with someone who is deep at their soul level, at the end of this thing, like where it's a significant life chapter for them, where at the soul level, the relationship has loved and served its purpose, and it's going to start all over again in some new kind of way, a new journey, maybe with you, maybe with someone else or not. Like basically, what I see when I see this here, it looks to me like the end of what I would call a lifestyle package deal, a complete lifestyle package deal where everything everything was there, like whatever it is, the jobs, the houses, the cars, the apartments, the minivans, the money, or the lack of it all the good things, all the lack of good things, everything to completion. Your own gorgeousness, their own gorgeousness, your own flaws, their own flaws, all of it wrapped into one thing that I call a lifestyle package deal. And it has expired from their point of view, but it's not the end of the world. It is simply like the end of a big chapter from their perspective, which simply means the beginning of a new chapter. That's all. So, if you want to, we can attribute that over in terms of a timestamp during this reading. Maybe we could attribute that to the Aries new moon energy over here, uh, which is going to be affecting you, Leo, because with the Leo, you're going to have it over here. Excuse me, sorry. This would be the Leo over here. And Aries, sorry, this would be the Leo over here. Yeah, that would be the Leo energy over here up in your ninth house, okay? Very highly ascended energy, where you could see that this is kind of a culmination, where this is a full blossoming, where everything is coming out in its full glory, and seeing it from the highest perspective possible, like the highest spiritual expression of your love relationship with a significant other. And it has reached this culmination here. So there you end up with a question mark. What do we do now? Like being on the front cover of a modeling magazine and then suddenly realizing, uh-oh, where do I go from here? If you're like front cover Vogue person or front cover GQ person, and then the only way from there is down. That's a problem. You can't be on the front cover all day, every month, forever. So it's a question of, because this is so yummy, what do you do now? Are you going to topple this? Let's have a look at the core itself. Okay, some big cards here. So if there is a releasing that has to occur here between the two of you, where like as gorgeous as this is, as awesome as it is, where you both reached a sort of culmination, a maximum flowering of yourself and other and a significant other in the context of a loving relationship. And the question is, what do we do now? If it does require let's say, an understanding from you, Leo, that from their perspective, it might be over and deep down it needs to be understood and brought into the conversation at some point so that it can be dealt with honorably, majestically, in a way that is very loving and respectful, so that like the energy of redemption can occur. Like if there is some kind of breakup and split up here, it is done in a very, very magnanimous, generous, loving manner where there's no blame, there's no shame. It's just I love you. I love you. I still love you. I still love you, but something is over and we need to move on. Okay? And that can happen in the context of a loving relationship. You can have that. You know, relationships have chapters. They have ebbs and flows. They intimate, we separate, we intimate, we separate. Sometimes it goes way over here. There's a lot of dependency and like, oh, I can't live without you, or I can't live without you. And then all of a sudden, sometimes it goes where it's like, who are you? Where are you? Where did the relationship go? And then bam, you're back in it again. And it's better than ever. And those are just natural cycles. All I'm sensing here is that there's a very powerful indication that a certain cycle or chapter is over as far as they're concerned, and it is affecting the whole relationship, and it needs to be understood, integrated into the relationship. And if there is forgiveness and blessing that needs to occur, then bless and forgive each other or the self, yourself or the other, them or you, either way. Like if whatever the reasons are for the ending of this chapter, maybe there's been a lot of, let's say, faithfulness, and that chapter is now broken because of unfaithfulness, then doesn't mean that this whole thing is over. Might be just a learning phase. You know, some people have very tragic episodes in their relationships, and it can almost obliterate everything. But with this much love here, uh, and these arcanas, and the energy of caution here, my feeling is to like be very, very, very careful. You don't want to throw away all the goodness because of one very awkward incident. Sometimes people learn and grow from very challenging moments, and that's what I'm sensing can happen here. Okay, let's have a look at consequence. Okay, so it's almost like the card here is just telling you what I was already feeling. Like if deep at the soul level, both of you at the relationship level know that a certain chapter in your relationship, the relationship, not you, not them, but the relationship itself, the relationship has chapters to it. One of them is over, it's completed, and a whole new chapter is going to begin. But in order for that to happen, it needs a tremendous amount of releasing. It needs a tremendous amount of I forgive you, I bless you, I bless you. Let's bless each other, let's love each other, let's start all over again. Let's really go for it this time. And, you know, it's water under the bridge type of thing, where if there has been serious damage in the relationship, it is repairable, it is salvageable, it is able to save this stuff, because for some people, you know, the relationship is sacred. And even though lots of things can go wrong in relationship, if we come in understanding that we are flawed, we are human, there are going to be mistakes, there are going to be periods and chapters where it is a living hell, but that doesn't necessarily mean the end of everything. It can mean the beginning of a whole new chapter on another level, taking it to the next level, which allows greater love and expression and sharing love to be exposed more than ever before. So that's kind of what I'm feeling here. It could be quite tumultuous. Okay, that's what I'm sensing. Quite tumultuous, but it looks like it's worth it. Okay, thank you so much. I don't want to mess things up by saying anything more. Please watch your sun, moon, and rising and reinterpret as you see fit. Okay, I've done what I can for you. If you need any more help, just come to terralumination.com. Okay, bye bye.